Hey guys, it's Bailey. Welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for tuning in to what is going to be a What's New with Physicians formula video. They recently launched a good amount of new products, including makeup and skincare, and so rather than doing the drugstore hunt, I just went ahead and went onto their website and bought those that I was interested in. No skincare here today. I didn't purchase any of those, but I was very interested in the makeup bits that they launched. So those are what I'm going to be talking about here today in this video, along with a review and a demo. So if you're interested in that, let's go ahead and dive in. Like I said, bought these from the Physicians Formula website, which I didn't notice. I've purchased from there a couple of times and didn't notice this until the last time I purchased there, but they have a 50% off like call to action or whatever at the top of the website, and I clicked it, and if you share your link, you get 50% off, and then your friend gets 50% off when they make their first purchase there. So I know Physicians Formula can tend to be on the pricier end of the drugstore price spectrum, so I wanted to share that tip in case you wanted to save a few extra bucks. I will put the link that I generated from my purchase down below, but obviously you have friends that also make a purchase. Definitely get with them and use their link if you can, but I don't know of another way to get a link unless you've already made a purchase. So like I said, mine will be down below in the description box along with all the information about all the products that I'm going to talk about here today. So first I want to talk about foundation. They launched a new formula. This is called the Healthy Foundation, has an SPF of 20, and my shade is LN4. And what was most notable right off the bat before I even actually tried this foundation was the shade range. When I saw this on their website and on their Instagram, the thing that first caught my eye was how many shades they had available. They launched 16 with this foundation, which is so unlike pretty much any other product they have, which is it's like 4 tones and it all skews pretty light to fair. There are 16 within this range, and they span 4 different skin tones and 3 different skin undertones. So for instance, mine is LN4. I think that stands for light neutral 4. So there is light, medium, dark, deep, and then the undertones they have are cool, warm, and neutral. So much wider span of shades than they typically would launch. Now this says it's for all skin types. When you go look at the website, there isn't a whole lot of information about the kind of coverage and finish you can expect from this. It uses like words like long wearing, buildable, breathable, but nowhere does it say full or dewy or matte or anything like this. So I really had no idea what to expect there. Ultimately, after I used it a couple times, it has a coverage that's relatively light to medium, and when I first used it, I didn't think I was going to be a fan because I just in general am not a fan of light to medium coverage foundations. I like a full coverage. I like to cover up all the blemishes I have going on, hyperpigmentation, uneven texture. I just like a good full coverage. But something about the way this laid on my skin, it wasn't super dewy, but it certainly wasn't powder finish dry. It laid somewhere in between, and just the way it evened out my skin tone without completely covering up features that I like, you know, freckles. Features that I like freckles, or just things that like make your skin look like real skin. This manages to leave those while still evening out the blemishes that I want covered, the redness from the blemishes that I want covered. Now, not totally, not fully. You will have to color correct if you have like a lot of redness around a blemish, or if you have a lot of discoloration, say in your under eye area or things like that. But I was pleasantly surprised with, like I said, how well this evened out my skin tone. So buildable, yes, to some extent, certainly not full coverage. Breathable, yes, it definitely feels light across my skin. Definitely good for someone who doesn't like the feel of a heavy foundation on their skin throughout the day, but still wants that coverage. And in terms of lasting power, I have found that it lasts on my combo skin all day. It has been kind of weird weather here down in Texas. It's winter, so obviously everywhere has gotten a little bit colder. Some people a bit colder because of that. But we've gotten down there too, and then we've fluctuated right back up to around the 40s and 50s, and for my skin in particular, that can really wreak havoc on it. It's breakout city in some places, it's dry in others, and I like how this not only lays evenly across all the textures I might have across my skin, but it lasts when I might be a complete oil slick in the center of my face on one day and dry as a desert in other parts of my face on other days. This just withstands the test of time across all those. Now, I haven't worn it during the summer, so I can't really speak to that, but I can say for this hectic winter weather, it's doing a pretty good job. So much so that, I mean, it's worth, I probably should have mentioned this at the top of the video. It was actually in my 2017 favorites foundation. 2017, it was a 2017 foundation favorites. That's what we're trying to get at, folks. I will link to that video up here if you want to go check it out. I talk about my 10 favorite combination skin picks, and this was included in it. So needless to say, I really like it. I would really recommend it, and think you should check it out if any of that sounded good to you. Up next, and I probably should have started with this because it's a primer, but this is the Spotlight Illuminating Primer. There is only one shade here, but they do call it Glow, just for reference in case they expand the shade range. Basically, it is a light champagne champagne pearlescent highlighter that you can use as a primer. Basically, it is a primer that has this very subtle light champagne pearlescence about it. You apply it across your skin. You could wear it as is just to give your natural skin a subtle glow, or you can obviously apply it under your foundation. It has a lotiony texture, which I love. I absolutely hate that slippery silicone-y feel because I just feel like it makes my makeup slide off even faster, which defeats the purpose of a primer. So love that it has that lotion texture, but I do feel like it could have a little bit more of a pearlescent shine to it. I'll admit I am a glow to the gods kind of person, so if you're not, this might be a better fit for you than it is for me. But especially when there are other liquid alternatives coming out now from the drugstore, like I placed another order, this one from Wet n Wild, and they came out with Mega Glow liquid highlighters. You mix a little bit of this with your primer or a moisturizer before you put your makeup on, and it kind of serves the same purpose, but you get a little bit more control with this guy in terms of how much you can tone up or tone down the amount of highlight you have there. So because of that, I am more inclined to go with something like the Wet n Wild as a drugstore alternative. That's not to say this isn't good. Again, because it has that lotiony texture, I feel like it did a good job at priming my skin. It created a nice even canvas. It hydrated. It didn't affect the wear of my foundation in terms of making it break up throughout the day or developing excess shine. That said, because it kind of lacked a more intense pearlescence or shine or highlight to it, I also didn't really feel like it shines through my skin, even wearing something as light to medium coverage as the foundation from Physicians Formula that I just talked about. So I'm kind of on the fence with this guy. For me personally, would I repurchase? No, probably not, just because I don't really notice a huge difference when I have it on, and because there could be other alternatives from the drugstore that allow you a little bit more versatility. Now on to brows. This little guy is called Brow Last. It's a long wear brow gel, and I got the shade medium brown. I believe there are 3 shades that they came out with in this collection, and this is really interesting. I couldn't really tell this online, but once I got it home, the packaging, I really like it. It's nice and compact. It comes with this spoolie that is actually tucked in what turns out to be the applicator, which is this thick angled liner brush. So you can see it twists off here, you put it back in, twist it back down, and then you pull up the top to use that spoolie action. And unlike a lot of packages like this, they have some ribs on the top of the spoolie so that when you put your lid back down, there's some texture and friction for it to grab so that it's not like this mess as you're trying to unscrew the top of this thing, that this plastic part is also coming off, which was a fear of mine, but it's actually pretty solid and sound packaging. As for the product itself, it is this thick tinted brow gel that you swipe through your brows. It helps fill and add a little bit of texture in there, and then you go back in with your spoolie to kind of smooth and distribute that across your brows. Once it's dried down, it certainly holds your brows in place. The pigment itself doesn't transfer on anything. Like I can, touch my brows like this, my brows stay in place, and you can see it doesn't come off on my fingers. And they say it's long wearing, but it's certainly not washproof. Like a lot of brow stains that are coming out from the drugstore, they say they last like days. This does not last through a face washing. So yes, it lasts long throughout the day. I didn't experience any meltdown or anything, as I might have sweat or had normal wear and tear throughout the day, but I definitely, I had fewer brows after I washed my face at the end of the day, so it's not ultra long wearing. So for that, I like it. I think it's a good option for people who want to give their brows volume. They care less about creating an entirely new brow definition. They really like the shape they have. They're not trying to recreate new brow. They just want to fill and thicken the brows they already have. That's what I find this gel is good for me. I don't see it being something that someone who, like I said, wants to create that actual brow shape from scratch, or if they want to create the appearance of individual hairs at any point throughout their brows, this is not going to be a good one for you either. I also noticed that once it dries down, it still has kind of a waxy-ish tacky texture. Like if you do happen to touch it or brush up against it, it will keep your brows in place in the event that you happen to like swipe your brows like at a glancing kind of thing. But if you actually press down, it just feels like unnatural and waxy. It doesn't feel like a natural fluffy brow, which some people might not want, and some people might want that natural texture of their brow. I just feel like it's important to point out because not everyone wants their brows like glued down to their face, which I feel like it does that a little bit. You could take the spoolie and kind of mess them up and give them a little bit of texture, but because this gel is so thick, it might look a little overdone and just like less natural than you might hope for. So mixed reviews on that. I certainly don't think it's going to be for everyone, definitely depending on your brow needs, what you're looking for your brow product to do, but overall I like it for what it does for my brows and the lasting power. And last up is a liquid lipstick. Physicians Formula has finally hopped on the liquid lipstick train, launching their own velvet finish lipstick line. There are 12 shades within this collection, and I played it kind of safe and boring and went for a peachy coral. This specific shade is called Coral Minerals, and I'm wearing it today. It does say it's supposed to be long wearing, and it's not long wearing. It's not transfer proof. You can see a little bit every time, like if I were to touch my fingers to it or on your glasses, things like that, a little bit comes off at a time, and that definitely becomes more apparent as you eat and drink throughout the day. But in terms of how it compares to a lot of other liquid lipsticks out there, even those from the drugstore, it's definitely on the shorter wearing end of the scale. I would notice that this is not completely gone, but definitely needs to be touched up by your mid-morning snack, easily by lunch, and there's some other liquid lipsticks out there on par with this price-wise that I just find last longer. It is nice and comfortable. It has kind of a soft mousse texture. It takes a little bit to dry, so if you want something that's very thin and quick drying, this might not be for you, but I feel like that soft mousse texture and the fact that it doesn't totally dry down to be transfer proof does make it a little bit more forgiving on lips that are dry or flaky or just tend to be more sensitive to ultra drying lip products. Overall, it's okay. There are so many liquid lips out there that I feel like it would be hard to say, yes, this is the one, it's the best one you'll ever find, because it has a mousse texture. A lot of others are like that out there. It's not really long wearing. Some excel more at that, but it is comfortable, it is very pigmented, and it will last you longer than the average lipstick. So if you happen to find a shade in this line that you like, you might as well give it a try. But beyond that, it's not like this groundbreaking liquid lipstick that you absolutely have to go out and try, if that makes sense. That is it for me. Those are all the products that I had to talk about that are new from Physicians Formula today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on these if you've tried any of them, or if you want to try any of them or not try any of them after having watched this video. Definitely let me know down in the comments below. Besides that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye, guys.